Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode. I'm really into this conversation right now. I really want to have this conversation, and I would love for you guys to leave any comments after you've listened to the episode. Message me on LinkedIn or DM me on Insta, or like on if you're on Apple or Spotify listening to this, I know you can add comments. So add comments. We're gonna have the conversation today about the whole work smart, work hard. I think it's timely. I think it's needed. I think it's a massive debate all the time. I think it's important to understand. And obviously, I'm going to talk about it over here on the podcast so we can share our thoughts and views, and I'm going to let you know how I feel about it. To start with, my first line is going to be, you can't work smart until you've worked hard. Argue with grass. And I mean that as respectfully as I possibly can, or maybe as disrespectfully as I possibly can. However, the reason I say that is because I'm a big believer in working smarter, not harder. Listen, I'm the queen of copy and paste because I don't have time. I'm the queen of writing stuff out so that I can just share it with people so that I don't have to explain myself because I don't have time. Yeah. I'm the queen of, I'm going to get into a new industry without having to go back to college or university and get another qualification because I don't have time. I'm a very impatient person. Impatience is something that has helped me in life and hindered me in life. It's hindered me in maybe relationships and stuff like that because, again, I don't have time. I'll leave. I'm a runner. Bye. But also, it's helped me in my career because being impatient has helped me figure out the quickest route to get to what I want, the quickest route to get to part-time hours on full-time money, the quickest route for you to give me dividends and shares, the quickest route for me to negotiate 15, 20K salaries, the quickest route for me to leave childcare. If you are new here, you know that I used to work in early years. I was a teacher for 10 years. I left that to get into recruitment and then become a human resources manager. And I did it after I left one industry and started the new industry. I was in management within 2.5 years. How? Because I want to get the quickest route to any end. I want the quickest route to a solution. Like any problem, I want to find the quickest route to solve it. I don't have time, like I said. However, I still don't believe that you can work smart or do those things until you've worked hard. I do believe that hard work is the foundation. And I'm going to explain to you why I think that. And let me know, like I said in the comments, I love this conversation. I love this debate. Let me know if you feel totally differently and you're like, nah, absolutely not, Adele, you can work smarter straight away. Because the only time I've ever heard anyone say to me, oh no, you can work smart from the jump, is they're like, well, what about people that are born into money? They've never got to work hard. They've just got to work smart. No, they haven't got to work smart. They've just got to work easy. That's different from working smart. They're not solving a problem or doing anything. If you inherit your parents' business and everything's already been solved and done for you and you've got people working for you that do, you're just working easy. And even on top of that, you're not necessarily just working easy. The start of it is easy, but then you've got when the person who hands it to you has gone, you then have to be able to keep it going. Business is not easy to run. Business doesn't run itself. It's run by competent people. And whether you're that competent person as the owner or you've hired the competent person, because I've definitely been hired by owners as the competent person to run the show, someone has to be running the show. So someone is working hard. So the whole time when people are like to me, oh no, if you're born into money, you're not working hard. No, but someone's working hard to make that company tick over. You just got something easily handed to you. So you're not actually working smart. That's not what working smart is. Working smarter is finding an easier way to do something. So something that might have taken you 5 hours, you found a way that it can be done in 2. It's like me, instead of going back to college or university to get into human resources and recruitment, found another way, was able to change industry without going back that way. That's working smarter, not harder. Harder would have been going back to uni and studying my CIPD for like 3 or 4 years. Do you see the difference? Harder would have been getting a more junior job and then studying my CIPD at the same time. Do you see? When actually I just went into a job, got good at it, got paid. So the hard bit for me when I was changing industries was figuring out how to get that CV right so that people would actually shortlist me. But that hard was still easier than 4 years at university or 3 years at university. Let's be clear. It was still that hard. I chose the smart option over the hard option because why? And I've now been in this industry for almost 17 years. Still don't have my CIPD because why? Now, I'm not saying I would never do a qualification again. I'm not, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it would be cool to do a qualification. Also, I always think about like, I enjoy learning. I do enjoy learning when it's something I'm interested in. So I've got to be in the right place to want to learn something. I haven't been in 17 years. I haven't felt like I needed to learn something because I was learning so much on my jobs, learning so much, even in this new job that is part-time role that I've been doing for the last, wow, it's almost 2 years. Yeah, it's 2 years because I'm recording this in April, guys. So it's exactly 2 years. When I started this part-time role, because I didn't realize how only working like 2 days a week was going to make it so hard to get all the information and to learn really quickly. So I wasn't able to learn things as quickly as I wanted to, even though people around me were like, oh my gosh, you've picked up things so quickly. I didn't feel like that. But I think that working the way I do work, and working smarter has definitely helped me to be able to work 2 days a week, get the information I need, or at least the level of stuff I need to be at manager level, and then still be able to deliver on the account that I manage. So yeah, anyway, we went off tangent just a little bit. Let's get back on track, Adele. Let's get back on track. Listen, I don't believe in overworking yourself to the point of burnout. That's not my thing. I've burnt myself out many a time, so I don't believe in that. I don't advocate for that for anyone. However, I do think people mistake effort with burnout. Like a lot of people say, I'm not doing that because I'm going to burn myself out. No, you won't. You're just going to put effort in. And some of you are lazy, and we should just say that. You don't want to put effort in, but you want the reward. A lot of us want to reap, but we do not want to sow. So you want to reap the rewards of what someone else has sown. If you want good, your nose have to run. That's what my mum used to say to me. If you're Jamaican, maybe you understand that. If you're from the Caribbean, maybe you understand that. But if you want good, nothing comes easily, basically. If you want what you want, there are going to be hurdles and obstacles and jumping through. There are going to be things you need. There's going to be effort. Effort is required. I'm a big believer, and I've had a podcast on this before. Effort is required. You cannot just reap the rewards when you ain't sown the seeds. Some people are like, I can't understand why I can't get the big salary, because you're reaping what you sowed. You sowed little, you reaped little. You sow much, you reap much. If you've ever listened to that Bible parable where in the Bible it talks about the three, like the talents, those men that get given all the talent, and one buries it, and then guys, if you're Christian, you know what I'm talking about. So one buries it, and the other two like use it and multiply it. And the ones that multiply it are the ones that obviously at the end, like Jesus is happy with. So why? Because you're working. That's working. Like the one who buried it felt like he was working smart, but he wasn't, because you weren't utilizing it. And actually, the people that were utilizing it were putting in effort. Burying it, there was no effort involved. Not burying it and actually going and using it, there was effort involved. That effort, guess what? They then were able to reap what they sowed. So, how do we do this when we talk about working hard and working smart? How are you going to work smart if you've never actually worked? Like, that's what I think about sometimes. I'm like, imagine you've just come out of school as a graduate or whatever. Now you're like, I'm going to work smarter, not harder. How? You don't even know what the hard work looks like. How can you streamline a process or make a process easier if you don't know how that looks? And I'm not saying there are not areas where you can work smart, not harder. 100%. Like I said, I changed industries with no qualifications or experience. So I definitely worked smarter. But I sometimes feel like some people will have worked for a year and then they're like, right, or 2 months, and then they're like, right, I'm going to change industry. And they have no clue what they're doing. It's because you haven't worked long enough in any industry to understand how relationships work, to understand how conversations need to go in the corporate world. Like, how are you working smarter before you work hard? You can get advice from people and try your best to do that. But the truth is, you have to lay a foundation and build a reputation for yourself. Yeah. When I changed industries, it was because I had results. I could speak on leverage. I could speak on transferable skills articulately and well, because I'd worked. I'd laid a foundation. I'd worked hard first. Once you work hard, you can get to the working smart. When I started my business, my gosh, anyone who's been following me since 2019, I used to post 2-3 times a day sometimes, like, because I wanted people to get to know what I do and who I am. I had to work hard because I was starting at zero followers, zero knowledge of me, zero everything. I had to get people's eyes on me. How am I doing that? Working hard. Because if you don't think having to create 3 pieces of content every single day for almost a year, 2 pieces of content every day, what? A picture, a post, going on Canva, making the drawing, writing the writing, doing stories, doing lives. Well, it took me 6 months to do my first live, but still doing lives. There's so many things that like I had to learn and do and work hard on. I was tired in that first year. Tired. Trying to figure out how am I going to get clients? Like I knew how to coach, knew how to write a good CV, knew how to write a good interview, but how am I going to get like clients to really start this business? What's the name? Have I got to sign up with Companies House? Like, do you know how much I had to learn about business before I could get started? Listen, marketing. I had to learn about marketing. I had to learn more about sales. I come from a sales background. Like in recruitment, you do sales, especially if you work for an agency. And I still didn't know how to sell a business because it's not the same. So I laid the foundation. I put in the work. By the time I got to 2021, everything got easier. I could post 1, 2 times, 3 times a week. Now I can post once a week, twice a week sometimes. Don't get me wrong, there's times I want to post more and I post more. I do what I want like now, but I don't have to be getting all the eyes on me, getting all the attention. I have a podcast now. Like when I started this podcast, oh my gosh, I was so scared because I didn't think I was going to get anyone listening. And at first I had like 3 listeners, 4 listeners, 5 listeners, 10 listeners, 20 listeners. Now hundreds of people listen to me talk. Hundreds of people listen to my advice. Hundreds of people message me and are like, oh my gosh, I listened to this episode, or I watched some of your videos and I've been able to get a 30k pay rise, or I watched some of your videos and I've changed industry recently, or thank you for working with me, Adele. It's been great having you as my coach. I've just, not only have I got the job that we worked on, but I've just decided to start a business. Like whatever it is, I'm saying to you, I had to lay foundations. I didn't just wake up and be like, oh, let me post once a week, every now and again, and hope my business grows. And that's what some people do. They turn up, they look at someone else's day 100 and they're like, well, she posts once a week and she's got 6,000, 8,000 followers. So that's what I'm going to do. Bro, do you know how we got here? Do you know what it was when I had 0 followers? Do you know what it was when I had 1 follower? Do you know what it was when I had 2 followers and I was posting 3 or 4 times a day? We laid the hard work as the foundation. Hard work requires you learning. Learning new stuff is hard. As you get older, I don't care what anyone says, learning is hard. That's hard work. Asking questions and feeling embarrassed and shame because you feel like you should know the answers to the question. That's hard. Networking, if you are an introvert, networking is hard. If you are an extrovert but you feel inadequate because you don't know answers to questions that you have, networking is hard. Mastering a craft or a skill set, this all takes time. To be great at something, listen, when you negotiate, when you go for interviews, when you do any of that, you have something to offer. You have to tell them, I've got this to offer. This is the value I bring. If you haven't done any work behind that, how do you know? How do you know what value you bring? How do you know what results you can deliver if you've never worked hard? Trial and error can't be achieved without putting in work. And you need trial and error to know what you're good at, to what you've mastered, because then you can sell what you've mastered. Then you can negotiate with what you've mastered. Then you can interview and let them know and have all the receipts. So how are you doing that? How are you working smart? Like now I go for an interview, I'm working smart. I'm giving you all my receipts. Do you know how easy that makes it for me to now negotiate the role, the salary, the title, all those things? When you don't have any receipts, how on earth are you working smart? Unless your dad runs the company. Then you work smarter. You just go straight to your dad. So, like I said, there's exceptions to every rule. Do I not say this all the time, guys? There will always be exceptions to the rule. But I don't believe the majority of people can work smart if they've not first worked hard. Like I said, trial and error can't be achieved without putting in some work. When me and my clients first get started on like their CVs and everything, I write their initial CV for like whatever specific job. But then I want them to learn how to do it so that when I'm not around, they can do it when they're ready to leave that job and move to another one. So I show them how to edit their summary based on a specific job. And it's trial and error. The first couple of times they come back, I'm like, no, that's not it. This is what we should be looking at. And then we work on it so they can understand it and I can see the gaps. That's hard for them because they're not only going to work all day at a full-time job, they're then coming home to look for a job, which also feels like a full-time job. And they've got me on their back saying like, nah, we need to make the CV better. We need to edit this bit. We need to do this bit. Or we need to edit the summary because, like I said, I've written the CV, but we need to edit the summary because this job is slightly different from what we originally were using the CV for. And actually, if you want to get shortlisted, this is what we're going to need to do. It's hard. Once they master it, I promise you, the next time they've got to do it, listen, I had one client, we must have worked on a summary, like different summaries, like 5 or 6 different summaries, maybe even 7. There were so many. She kept coming back to me. She kept not being good. We kept redoing it, till she got so good and landed a job. And then after a year or so, used the same tips and techniques I'd taught her and landed another job because she messaged me and let me know. And then got in contact with me recently because now she wants to make a big jump and she was like, I need support again. Listen, she now knows how to work smart. She didn't need me the second time because why? She laid the foundation the first time. She knew she'd worked hard so that the next time she could just work smart. She knew what she was doing. Once you lay foundation, you can start to work smarter because you start to see where processes, actions can be improved and streamlined. No one would have given me part-time hours for full-time money if I didn't have a tried and tested work process and evidence of how I deliver value and results. Like I said, the receipts, which required initial hard work to figure out. Like I had to figure out what I was going to be good at. I had to figure out what I could master. I had to figure out what are these results that I can deliver that are valuable to someone else that they care about. I had to figure out that actually you don't need to do all the work. You just need to do the work that your boss cares about most. It took me time. Now I can work smarter because I can communicate how I can deliver that value and those results on part-time hours. And that is how I got part-time hours for full-time money. I can explain now, listen, these are the results you need. I could deliver those for you in 3 days. I don't need a 40-hour week. I can probably do that for you in 20 or 25 hours. But I will still generate the same profit as if I was on 40 hours a week. So I still expect the money as if I was on 40 hours a week because you pay your 40-hour employees this much money to deliver this result. I can deliver the exact same result and more on 3 days. The only reason I know that is because I've initially had to work hard to figure that out. I realized, I don't need 5 days. I can do it in this many days because I've learned systems and ways and processes. And I just am who I am and I have that level of energy and I can get it done. How would I know any of that if I had not initially worked hard, if I had not put effort in? Effort is required. The effort I put in at the beginning of my career, the effort I've put in when I changed industries, now I can sit back and work smarter. The effort I put in the first few years of starting my business, now I can sit back and work smarter. Someone I love, like one of my closest friends, my bestie, has started a business. And I have seen how hard it's been. I promise you, when you start a business, blood, sweat, and tears. A lot of you may know, some of you may not know. I had a training company for 9.5 years. I closed it down because I was with a business partner and we both were doing the training company. But then I started my coaching business and it was just like, I can't do all the things. I can't work part-time, do a coaching business, run my training company, because the training company physically needs me there just like the coaching business does. Like they need me to go in because I'm a trainer and I go and deliver trainings at companies and businesses and schools and wherever else I was delivering trainings to individuals, to parents. I delivered first aid. We did like loads of different trainings along that sort of line, safeguarding, all types of things. I can't do that and also be a coach full time. Like something had to give. But for 9 years, that business did its thing. But I remember them first 2 years, blood, sweat, and tears. I remember when you're not making no money when you first start your business and you're like, why am I doing this? Rewind to Adele 2019. Why am I posting 2-3 times a day? Why am I doing all this and I'm not really making any money? I'm selling 1 or 2 CVs. People want me to do 1 or 2. Like how? But guess what? When people started getting results and then started shouting my name, when I started saying, woo, I helped someone get a 22K pay rise. I helped someone get a 50K pay rise. When I started having results from all my hard work, I was able to work smarter. I have got years behind my belt of helping people. So now when people look or they go and speak to my old clients, they're like, oh, she knows what she's doing. That's who I want to work with. And that was because of the hard work. I got smarter by initially working harder. And I've yet to meet a successful career person who didn't start off working hard in some way. Like, you hear these people all the time saying, oh, if only I knew what I knew then, I wouldn't have done it. Listen, if you hadn't have done it, you might not have achieved what you achieved. I don't believe in that. When really successful people that have got like hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds are like, oh, if I knew 5 years ago what I know now, I wouldn't have done X, Y, Z. Guess what? If you hadn't have done X, Y, Z, you wouldn't know what you know now to help everyone else. I now, because I worked hard and laid the foundation, can help people change industry without them thinking they have to go back to university or college. But the work they put in is still hard. It's not as hard, like I said. So it is a form of working smarter, but the only way they can do it is they contact someone like me, they get in touch with someone like me. The hard is admitting, okay, I don't know how to do it on my own. There's still hard involved. There is always going to be hard work. You have to lay the foundation. When they work with me, it's not easy to break their mindset. Like, when you've got that mindset, anyone who's listened to this podcast knows that it isn't just what you do. The strategy is great, even if the strategy works. If your actions behind the strategy, if your belief behind the strategy isn't there, you will have crappy actions. If your mindset isn't right, listen, your energy introduces you before you come in. When you walk into a room, do you really think what comes out your mouth is what people feel? What they feel is your energy. Just like when I spoke about your reputation is your brand in one of my previous episodes. When you show up, people feel your energy. If your energy is rubbish, you'll get rubbish responses. If your energy is good, you get good responses. Whatever you believe, if you go into somewhere thinking, I'm not going to get this job, guess what? You're probably not going to get the job. The most delusional people will get results, and you're like, how? She's just delusional. Yes, the delusion got her the results because she believed what she needed to believe. So her energy showed up like that. Listen, your energy introduces you. If you believe it, the person you're speaking to believes it. I've been in interviews where I had the interview stopped 4 questions or 5 questions in because she was like, I feel like you're just going to be able to answer all these questions, and either you've got the gift of the gab or you're actually really good at your job. Either way, I'm not going to know unless I offer you the job. Why? Because my energy, I'm confident. I believe I can do what I'm telling you I can do. So that in turn makes you believe, like, you know what? Maybe she really can. I'm intrigued. I'm interested. I'm probably going to offer her a job so I can see. When you are in an interview, you're selling potential. They don't know if I can do what I'm saying I can do. But because I believe it, my energy reads like, yeah, she can do what she's saying she can do. A lot of people can do the job, but they go in there with nervous, scared energy, small energy. People are like, nah, I don't think this person can do the job. Yet when I look at your CV, they got all the experience in the world. You know how many people say to me, but Adele, I should easily be able to get this job. I've literally got the exact experience and I'm not landing any offers. Because you went in with small energy. You get smarter by initially working hard. Working on your mindset is hard. Working on being able to brag about yourself and talking about your results is hard when you're not that type of person. Working on pushing yourself outside your comfort zone when you're an introvert is hard. And then doing it on repeat. I repeatedly push myself outside my comfort zone as an introvert. When I go to other people's podcasts and they're filming me to be on their podcast, awful. I can't think of anything worse. When I go to networking events or I host trainings, listen, do you know how scared I am before I get on that training? But 20 minutes before I have to train like a group of people, do you know how scared I am? Once I start training, love it because I'm good at what I do and I believe I'm good at what I do and I really help people and then I get feedback and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. But 20 minutes before, I don't want to do it. I'm like, this is horrible. I'm going to be sick. I feel horrendous. I'm an introvert. It's not natural for me. My podcast. People have asked me so often in the last year, why have you not started your podcast just be on YouTube? Why is it still audio only? Because I can sit here and don't have to worry about how I look. I can be as animated, moving my hands, doing whatever I want. I don't have to brush my hair if I don't want to. I can record from my bed if I really wanted to. I don't. I have in the past, but I don't. But I could because you can't see me. You can just hear me and I can let my voice do the work and carry. This is hard enough for me, let alone anything else. So this is me working smarter, working to my skill set. But I can only do that because I know what my skill set is and it's not necessarily be in front of the camera. So like I said, you have to work hard to be able to work smart. Don't try to skip steps. This is really why so many people are stuck. Because again, they're trying to follow someone else's day 100. You're looking at me and saying, oh, I don't only post once a week. So if I start a business, I have to post once a week. Go back to my 2019, go back to 2020, go back to 2021, the beginning. Look at how much times I used to post a day. I wish I could go to my archives and show you all my stories. I would have stories that have like 15 slides on them Now I might post a 2 or 3 slide story if you're lucky. I'll post one reel maybe for the whole week. Because so if you're copying my strategy now, it's not going to work for you. You're not going to get my current results because this is hard work turned smart work in the making. My day 100 can't be your day 1. You're going to have to put in your own level of work, your own level of effort to get to this day 100. So when you're watching people and you're watching their success, remember, are you willing to do what they did to get to where they got to? Because a lot of people, like I said, you want to reap, but you don't want to sow. You want the results of my day 100, but you don't have to want to walk in my day 1 to 10. Because you're like, that's too hard. That's why I say everything isn't for everyone. And you have to know if something is for you or not. Like I said at the start of this episode, I would love to know and hear your thoughts. Like just on this whole topic. Do you think you can work smart without working hard? And if you do you think it's something that everyone can do on like it's easy? All of us can just work smart, never having worked hard, never having put in the effort, never having to put in the foundation. We could just work smart from day 1. Share. Because I would be really interested. I definitely think there's exceptions to every rule, but I genuinely feel like you need to work hard before you can work smart. And like I said at the beginning, argue with grass, not me. I'm playing. You guys know I love a debate. So let me know your thoughts. I hope this helps someone who might be looking at other people and saying, oh my gosh, it looks so easy for them. This is just a reminder. You don't know how they got to where they're at. You don't know what they did or what they were willing to do. You don't know what they were willing to sacrifice. There might be things that you're not even willing to do or to sacrifice. So be careful who you envy. Be careful who you look at. But also, effort is required. And I know I'm shouting on this good day that you're listening. I'm shouting at you. But I'm shouting because I'm passionate. Effort is required. To work smart, you need to work hard. It's as simple as that. So I think one comes before the other. And I think if you're willing to put in the work and lay the foundation, stuff just gets easier and easier after that. And you can kind of kick back and chill. It's like the difference between going from being just an employee, a normal member of staff, to being the manager. I'm not saying managers have it easy, but what I am saying is managers do less of the doing, more of the thinking, more of the strategy. Their responsibilities change. When I was a manager, when I was a director, I just choose what days I want to be on annual leave and book them in. Like, what? What are you talking about? Life is easy. I always wanted to be the manager because I wanted life to be easier, because that was me working smarter, because working hard, I didn't want to do that level of hard anymore. I wanted to do a different type of hard. I want to do management level hard. I don't want to do everyday level hard. But some people, oh my gosh, hate the thought of managing other people, hate the thought of having to deal with hundreds of different personalities and to have to figure out how to manage them. They couldn't think of anything worse. So they're like, nah, I don't care. What you get for it in return is not good enough for me. I would never want to be in your shoes. So knowing who you are is really important. And you don't figure out who you are without a little bit of hard work. You don't figure out what you're good at without a little bit of hard work. You don't figure out what you're mastered, what your zone of genius is without some hard work. And once you get that hard work, now you have receipts. And once you have receipts, life becomes easier because now you can literally work smarter. If you've liked this episode, share it with someone else who might also enjoy it. And I will speak to you in the next episode.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and careers. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.